everybody. It's Takedown. Scott Casper. We go to the Nike hot seat this time at Cleveland. We go to Ben Stehura, the embattled Cleveland head coach. It was announced on Monday, March 30th, that Cleveland State University, which had established a wonderful reputation as a great wrestling program over the years, would no longer compete in college wrestling. Joining us now to talk about it, Ben Stehura. Ben, how are you?
I'm doing well considering the circumstances, Scott. Thanks for having me on, so we can let people know what's going on here.
Let's start at the beginning. You were notified when about this decision?
We were notified. Myself and my assistant coach Josh Zupanzik was notified. Was supposed to be 12:30, but ended up being 1 o'clock on Monday.
1 o'clock on Monday. You were talking to your team at approximately 3 o'clock Eastern, expressing to them the decision of Cleveland State to no longer sponsor men's wrestling.
Right.
And then it went public. And what also became very apparent was he was supplanting one sport for another. He was taking men's wrestling off the offering of Cleveland State and establishing a men's lacrosse program that would begin competition in the spring of 2016-2017. So let's talk about the committee that made the decision. I would imagine the president was involved in the decision making, the board of directors of Cleveland State, those that advise the university and its business, and then, of course, the athletic department. What was the committee like? Who made up the committee?
So what we've been told is there was a committee to add lacrosse, and the plan was to secure the funding for men's lacrosse through the raising of student fees to cover the expansion, plus 40% of the student fee increase would cover would go to athletics and more than cover lacrosse and other additions, and then 60% would go to other student groups like internships and things like that. About 3 weeks ago, the proposed funding increase of student fees was struck down by the president and the board of directors, I believe. I was informed today by the athletic director that the decision to start lacrosse and specifically stop funding wrestling was made by a committee of one himself.
Okay, so the CSU athletics director, John Perry, stated, and again, this is information that you received from him, that he made the decision to eliminate the sport of wrestling, eliminating the opportunity for young men to compete on the mat as they have for so many years at Cleveland State, in a state that is well known for its wrestling prowess, one of 4 Division I wrestling programs, and I can't even tell you how many Division II, III JUCOs that are in the state, but the number of high schools that participate in the sport is huge. The state championships, I think, would attest to that. But Cleveland is set to host the NCAA championships. I'm not understanding how this decision.
Don't forget the All-Star meet.
And exactly. I'm set to announce that. I'm sorry I forgot it. But it amazes me that we have such a strong wrestling community there, and that a committee of one could literally affect the outcome not just of a sport, but the very future of the sport. I'm wondering if the Cleveland business community, the Cleveland Sports and Information and bureau that promotes Cleveland as a city and a sports destination, is aware of this decision. I wonder if the NCAA is aware of this decision. What are your thoughts?
I know that the Wrestlers in Business Network is aware. They've since Monday been on board to champion our cause and not allow this to happen, as well as the NWCA and Executive Director Mike Moyer. They knew before my team knew. In that intervening hour and a half that I had, I gathered my team and marshaled our resources in a very short period of time. And so they're aware and they're on board, and there's a meeting scheduled tomorrow, Thursday, at 2:30 with Mike Moyer at the Wrestlers in Business Network, and myself with the athletic director to get clarification and really get clarification on a lot of things on what can be done uh, from reversing the decision to fundraising or to really hash it all out and say, hey, wrestling to continue, not just 1 year as planned, but, you know, for the foreseeable future or in perpetuity, what needs to be done.
Long
So,
term. Founded
long,
in 1964. And I want to make clear on this Cleveland State University is a public research institution that provides an incredible setting for learning for more than 17,000 students.
right.
It has
Yeah.
9 different colleges, more than 200 academic programs, outstanding academic institution. For one man to make the decision to control the destination, it seems to me it's a bit short-sighted. It perhaps even goes back to the decision that was made by Boston University and their then athletic director at the time to eliminate the sport of wrestling. There are some similarities here, but again, Cleveland State University being a public institution, it seems to me that more than one individual should be involved in the decision of this import. What is your thought?
Well, I agree with that in one aspect of the, one person, affecting that kind of decision making. I don't agree with, but the one thing that is different here is there's been no accusation or no the rationale for discontinuing the wrestling program hasn't centered on the ability to compete with the current level of funding. It hasn't been centered on academic issues. It hasn't been centered on anything other than lacrosse being started and wrestling being eliminated. The reason wrestling is being eliminated is so that lacrosse can be offered here. There is no Title IX issue here. It's a men's lacrosse program. There's no funding issue here. As a matter of fact, the proposed budget for the lacrosse program exceeds that of the current wrestling program.
Wow.
Academically, APR, our program is in good standing. It has improved steadily in the last 7 years. So, the similarity ends when you get past the fact that wrestling is being dropped, and there are no other similarities here. The program is not beleaguered. We have a full squad. We had 2 athletes in the national tournament that scored points. We took second on the EWL dual meet portion and fourth in the conference tournament portion. I mean, and beat several schools, including Big Ten Indiana. I don't mean to pick on them, but I mean, we beat MAC schools and Big Ten schools, and I mean, you can't say it's an issue of competitiveness.
I have to do comparative analysis in preparation for interviews like this. Cleveland State has men's programs, 7 men's athletic offerings. They have 9 women.
Correct.
So clearly it's not a Title IX issue. It would
Right.
be perhaps a desire for one sport over another. My understanding is that your A.D. Perry has a background in lacrosse. His wife has a background in lacrosse, currently coaching. It's easy for me, perhaps sitting outside looking in, to connect the dots. Um, is it your opinion, perhaps, that this could be reversed if the right points were made? I hesitate to use the word the right pressure were brought to bear, but again, one man made this decision. It seems to me that the administration needs to be involved.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously haven't lost that. It's very, very early. I mean, we're less than 3 days out from the announcement. I mean, you know, uh, and obviously an immediate reversal of the decision um, is a number one goal. I mean, I think that's best for everyone. We have a budget. We have a fundraising network. We exist and are welcomed by our community, as evidenced by the outpouring of support. I mean, I can't, and I apologize to anyone I haven't responded to on email. I have received hundreds of those emails, and I am working diligently to respond to you. And so please be patient. But and then the Twitter and Facebook presence, you know, I, I don't understand how if you can't come up with the funding for another sport, lacrosse especially, you asked for the funding and it wasn't an important enough venture to continue forward because you weren't able to secure the funding.
Mm.
Well, you weren't able to come up with the funding. Why would you strip funding from another program that already has it and earned it? The want or need for another program wasn't enough to secure funding for it.
In other words, there's no rationale here.
I mean, OSHA, Ohio High School State Athletic Association, doesn't sponsor lacrosse, and we're a state institution. There's no state championship of lacrosse.
In Cleveland, of course, the heart of the Northeast Ohio wrestling hotbed, you're obviously hearing from other Ohio State schools, from Tom Ryan in Columbus to the Ohio Bobcats, to Notre Dame of Ohio, to Kent State, and I could go on and list them. We're on television all over the greater Ohio Valley on every cable system several times a week with Wrestling News Television. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me what has been done at this point. It does make a lot of sense to me, perhaps, if this decision were not only reversed, but I would like to see, and this is asking a lot, but how about more support for wrestling?
I mean, I agree. I think, um, should I think it's made a lot of people think about what Cleveland State has meant to the Northeast Ohio area. Going back to Coach Bonacci, who's actually sitting in my office right now, and the hundreds of thousands of lives that we've touched through our community outreach and our club programs that have been going on for over 30 years, that have been free to the community. I mean, I know I was just at Division I Nationals, and there was a lot of guys that came through this club program. This decision couldn't come at a worse time. We have, I mean, this year we started to get those guys to commit. Um, we had starting to get those kids to commit to actually not just go to Ohio State and win a national championship like Nathan Tomasello did, but to come here and wrestle for us.
So, and let's go back a little bit in the history of the program. CSU has had national champions, All-Americans.
Never a national champion. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I was thinking of Rashad Goff, but that would be a number of years ago. But so if we can, though, I think we need to look at the young people that have been affected and those that will be affected for the future with no place to wrestle at Cleveland State. Jack Effner, for example, who led this program for a number of years. His son, Jason. I mean, this is a community that's very much plugged in to the Cleveland State program, and to have it embattled is to me a bit of a joke. I'm not understanding this. I'm having a hard time wrapping my arms around it. Jason Bryant, same thing. Yeah. You've coached some incredible athletes at the senior level. 4 Olympic team trial qualifiers, 2 Olympic alternates. Your history as a coach, I think, is well grounded. What you bring, what you offer, business wise and sense wise, seems to me they have a very strong leader in a role that has been self perpetuating. In other words, leaving the program as it is. It seems to me that they would be better off leaving this program, even if they do want to add a lacrosse program. I'm not going to agree with the decision, but if that's what they want to do, why would they take from an established program to establish something that has, no popularity, no high school grounding? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, Ben.
It doesn't seem to be a decision. Seems to be a decision based on passion and not logic.
Hmm.
Um, and as a wrestler, I understand passion. I understand that, but um, you can't go against. I don't believe logic. Needs to prevail. So um, that's my belief, and it's my stance. The position is reversed, and you have a passion for lacrosse. I mean, all you have to do is ask me. I'll help you fundraise. I'll help you make lacrosse, men's and women's lacrosse, a reality here. I mean, I understand that kind of passion, but I don't think you ever, as a responsible human being, supplant your passion over the rights of others.
And again, this is a public institution. We're talking with Ben Stehura, the embattled head coach of the Vikings of CSU. Cleveland State University recently announced as of Monday they would no longer fund wrestling. You can follow them on Twitter. Let your voices be heard at CSU_athletics. Continue to let the voices be heard, because those in the board of directors positions and the president of the university, those that donate, you know what? Their voices will be heard, believe me. And we can't wait for the results of this meeting that will take place tomorrow. You're going to be on our program on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern, across the country on iHeartRadio as well. And we'll look forward to an update at that point. Ben,
I
further,
have
what can fans do to assist you? What can wrestling people do to assist?
follow us on Twitter at SaveCSU. Go to the Wrestlers in Business Network website. We are follow along. You can find links to our people can follow us on at Save CSU on Twitter. They can go to Cleveland State on Facebook. They can go to our fundraising site at crowdrise.com/Save CSU Wrestling. They can also go to the Wrestlers in Business Network site and find out more information there. Um, like I said, follow those links, please. I think the voices of many hopefully can drown out the voice of one.
And the voice of one has created a problem for many, and we are looking for the solution. Surely, Athletic Director Perry would agree that he needs to spend his time on more positive pursuits, and not necessarily to destroy something, but to rather continue to build a program such as you, Coach Effner, and the many that have gone on before that have done a great job of offering outstanding opportunities for America's young people. And we, of course, will be championing the cause as well. Ben Stehura, thank you so much for your time, and we appreciate it. We'll look forward to your appearance on the radio show with an update this Saturday.
Thank you, Scott. I really appreciate all the help you and everybody else is giving us, and we will get it done for you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Ben. Ben Stehura has been our guest. He's been in the Nike hot seat today. And well, he's probably sitting in other hot seats for sure, but it's been an absolute pleasure to be able to talk to him, open some eyes as to the challenges that he's facing at CSU. CSUVikings.com, and again, at CSU_athletics on Twitter. Make your voice heard, fans. You heard the ones that he gave you, and you can't speak loud enough. Now's the time. Call to action.